All right, let's talk about Travis Kelce playing against his brother's former team here, the Philadelphia Eagles, in the Super Bowl. One time he played against his brother's current team in the Super Bowl. We can talk about that a little bit. I want to bring it up a little. It's different, right? Definitely Travis Kelce. I don't want to say he's not what he used to, but we used to see him play better, so I guess I will say that, right? At least more consistently. You see this play, this is kind of what we don't see as often from him. And we still see flashes here and there, so maybe it'll show up in the Super Bowl. But you see, he's in a one-on-one matchup right here against man coverage. And as you notice, when Mahomes takes the snap, Kelce wins this matchup really well, gets wide open, gets the touchdown. That's something that we used to see like all the time from Kelce. That used to be kind of one of his things, is like you just can't play man coverage against him because he'll destroy you. That's not so much the case now. You can see stuff that, he can, you can at least hold your own against him, right? Although, that is not the only thing that has made Kelce great throughout the years. In fact, this was probably still what he's most known for, and even currently is still what he's most known for, is, you see zone coverage, you have a receiver running a deep shot, trying to push the safeties further deep. Kelce's going to go over the middle. As you see when this play begins, honestly, I wouldn't even say this is played that poorly from the Eagles, but Kelce's just so good at getting into those soft spots in zone coverage, right? This isn't even what he's most known for, but it's what he was able to do the last time they played in the Super Bowl. As you see, it's what he's able to do then. So, okay, that was Kelce 2 years ago, and Kelce was getting up there in age in that game. Definitely, we still see him have those great games. I'm not saying he's washed up or anything, but what are we usually seeing from Kelce now? Well, it's a lot more stuff like this, where it's going to be a zone coverage play, and it's, you see that the Chiefs have several players running routes, just trying to, clear out that area of the field, right? Because then Kelce will run that route underneath. Hopefully there's no one else there. You can get the ball in his hands and gain some yards. That's the way this play is designed to work. As you see, Mahomes takes a snap, really well executed by everybody involved, flips it to Kelce. Kelce picks up some yards. So he can still do that stuff, right? He can still be the role player that we know he can be. Feels weird to call him that, but on certain plays, he has to be a role player, and he can do that. But of course, it would be completely unfair to say Travis Kelce is just a role player, even at this point in his career. I mean, the guy, we saw what he did against Houston, right? But also that Buffalo game, where he didn't have a ton of yards in it, but he still definitely made some plays. Like, for example, this was on that, that drive that the Chiefs were able to take the lead 32-29, which would end up being the final score. You see the concept on the screen, nothing fancy at all. Just get underneath the zone coverage here. No one does this like Travis Kelce does it. It should be simple, but he can make it way better. Watch as when Mahomes is going to flip the ball to Kelce right here, you see how he's sort of moving towards the bottom of the screen, and then the linebacker, Matt Milano, is going in that direction because that's what logically makes sense. Let me go there so I can make a tackle. Kelce knows this, and so despite the fact that his head, he can't see exactly where Milano is until maybe right when I pause this, maybe not even right yet. Like, it takes him a second to even know where Milano is, but it doesn't really, because he's played in football so long, he just knows where a linebacker is going to be on a play like this. So he knows to kind of, fake left, go right, picks up more yards because he gets around Matt Milano on that play. So again, what he maybe doesn't have maybe he's not quite as explosive as he was in his younger days, but there's a reason why he's still so effective, and it's because he can do this stuff. So for the Eagles heading into the Super Bowl, who love to run these types of coverages, you have to think that Kelce should have an impact. Like, this is what the Chiefs really like to do with Kelce, and what the Eagles just have to be aware of, which is, so it's going to be a zone coverage play that the Texans are in right here. Again, a lot of what the Eagles do is this. The Chiefs are going to have a receiver run a deep shot, just trying to push the secondary further deep, right? Push the safety in the corners further deep. You got to focus on that. And then Kelce, who's lined up as a fullback on this play, is going to run to where now hopefully nobody is there. Again, it's easy to sit here. I think even when I made my video after the Chiefs beat the Texans, it's easy to sit here and say, what are you doing? Obviously, like, they're not gonna throw it to the, Kelce isn't a fullback. He's not gonna lead block on a running play, but they will have him be back here, and it's usually for fakes and things like that, but it's not always. So they do it enough that you can't just say, oh, they're definitely having him go down the field on this play. That being said, the Texans still lose him here, and that just can't happen. I mean, you have to know where 87 is at all times in zone coverage. If it's zone coverage and you see him somewhere in your area, you got to be aware of that, right? As you see, Mahomes, of course, is going to make that throw. Kelce's able to get a big gain, and he's mad at himself for not staying in bounds, but, I mean, it would have been hard to stay in bounds there. Again, this is what he can still do, and this isn't all he can still do. There was this play as well. It's going to be a man coverage play going up against the Houston Texans. And you might be saying, wait a second, I thought you said he wasn't as good against man. He's actually still, he's still fine against man. He just, to clarify what I was saying earlier, it feels like there are moments against zone coverage where he's unstoppable. In man coverage, he feels stoppable. Not to say that he isn't still very good and can win. He's just, when he was younger, it was like he's always winning every time. Now it's like, yeah, he'll win sometimes and lose some other times. When he really wins is when you forget to cover him. That's what the Texans did here. They had two guys on the running back, or actually it was on Noah Gray that two guys were on, no one on Kelce. That's not ideal. You don't want to be doing that. They screw up the coverage, so because of this, Kelce gets here basically for free, right? I mean, Kelce made a lot of great routes to pick up yards. This is not one that he's looking at. But at the same time, this is the other aspect of Kelce is, Kelce isn't just known for being someone who can get open. He's also elite in open space. Watch as he makes not just one player miss, but two players miss. He would have been down at the 35-yard line. Instead, he got down at the 5-yard line. That's 30 extra yards right there. So yes, the blown coverage helped, but he still had to make multiple players miss, and he was able to do exactly that. So that's one thing you look at as well and say, okay, this guy is still a factor. For the Eagles, you got to make sure you tackle him, but again, it's easier said than done, right? So what is my final predictions for Kelce? Well, you see on the screen, again, if this is the first video of mine you're watching, the way this works is I just give a scale of 1 to 5 in favor of which team at the end of each of these videos. Just kind of a fun way to keep track of this stuff. Don't pay too much attention to it. Again, it really is just for fun. But you see, I'm going to go +3 for Kelce. I think that, the Eagles, I didn't really get into it too much, but the Eagles do have good linebackers who can potentially try to limit him, and even good safeties who can potentially try and limit him. Again, all you can really do is limit, but I do think that the best thing about going for the Chiefs is simply just schematically. Kelce, again, he's played against zone coverage a million times. He's played against Vic Fangio a bunch because Vic Fangio has, with the Denver Broncos, he was the head coach for them. So he played a bunch, and then obviously now he's the defensive coordinator of the Eagles. Who does that help? Does it help Kelce? Does it help Fangio? Remains to be seen. But nonetheless, you have to assume Kelce is going to be a weapon in this game, right? It's not to say he'll be unstoppable. Definitely not to say that. And I do think there are ways that the Eagles can try and slow him down. But yeah, as a whole, again, part of it too is it's Travis Kelce. Has he ever not shown up in a game like this? I guess you could argue the Bills game last week, but he still made that big play, right? Even if he's not maybe showing up on a stat sheet, he'll still make some big plays and still be a factor and still take on attention and all of that stuff. Like the Bills did have to put a lot of attention on him in that game. So yeah, those are kind of my thoughts on all of this stuff. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think? Do you think Travis Kelce is going to be a big impact player in Super Bowl 59? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.